Amanda Martin.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I beg to move that leave be given to bring in a bill to make provision about sentencing for the theft in relation to the theft of tools of trade and for connected purposes. Over recent years, there has been a sharp increase in the theft of tradespeople's tools, and usually from vehicles. 1 in 10 tradespeople can expect to have their tools stolen this year, and the same proportion have already experienced 3 or more such thefts in their career. The impact on an individual or small business on the theft of critical tools goes well beyond the value of the tools themselves. In addition to the average value of a stolen tools, around £2,730, repairing damaged vehicles costing around £1,300, and the immediate loss of work and business interruptions amounting to almost £2,000. It is harder to put a value on the longer-term damage suffered as small businesses find themselves unable to honour commitments or to complete contracts on time. But 40% of these victims report a negative reputational effect, and 1 in 10 describe it as a significant reputational blow to their business and future business. More than 4 out of 5 victims of tool theft report an impact on their mental health and emotional well-being, and more than 1 describe this as major. The construction industry has one of the highest suicide rates in the UK compared to other occupations and professions. There is a non-for-profit working in my constituency called Van Watch, who have provided much of the research and inspiration for this bill. They have been campaigning tirelessly to protect tradies from tool thefts from their vans. Van Watch have carried out research that suggests there is little confidence amongst the trade community that either the police or the courts are on their side, with over 85% dissatisfied or very dissatisfied with the sentencing policy. In another study they carried out, 451 cases of tool theft, less than 10 came to court, and less than 2 resulted in a custodial sentence. Madam Deputy Speaker, I have heard some really difficult examples from my constituents of the impact of these crimes, and I would like to share a couple with you and the House. Callum had just got married and bought his own house. On the morning in 2018, he woke up to find his front driver door and rear door broken on his van. Overnight, someone had taken over £10,000 worth of power tools that he used to run his business. The thieves escaped prison despite having previous offences for similar theft, and he made a loss of £10,000 in tools, plus not to mention the loss in earnings of several days, as he scrambled to get a working vehicle and basic tools just to get back to work. His mental health took a toll, and he struggled desperately with anger at the apparent lack of justice. 6 years later, he tells me he finally managed to replace all of the tools. He has also had to size up a garage, pay extra to fit his transit van in, as he doesn't believe his van is safe on the road at night. Pete told me how he woke up to a drilling sound in the middle of the night outside of his house. He looked out and it was his van that was being drilled and his tools that were being stolen. He confronted the thieves, who did not seem fazed at all at being caught, and he feels the thieves committing this type of crime have no fear of repercussions. He called the police, and although the thieves did end up getting caught, they didn't go to prison, and none of his tools were recovered. Madam Deputy Speaker, simply not practical to empty work vans every single night, and it should be reasonable to expect the locked and alarmed vans keeping our tools in and people's livelihoods should be safe outside of their houses and on the streets. Current sentencing guidelines notes that when sentencing for an offence, the sentencing guidelines look at 2 areas: culpability rate and a harm rate. Culpability is defined as a letter, A, B or C. Harm is measured on a numerical scale from 1 to 4. Anyone taking leadership role in crime, coercing others or targeting vulnerable people is likely to get a culpability rating of A. People who are themselves coerced into crime, a culpability rating of C. And then everyone else in the middle gets a B. Harm caused by crime is measured on a 4-point scale. Harm category 1 is reserved for the high value of stolen goods, over £100,000. And category 2 covers thefts between £10,000 and £100,000. And category 3, thefts between £50,000 and £10,000. When considering the sentencing, the magistrate refers to a chart in the guidelines to find the appropriate sentencing. So, for example, if the culpability rating is B and the value of the stolen goods is £5,000, that would be a Category 3. Then the potential range of custody, potential range of sentencing runs a low-level community service order for 36 weeks custody. In addition, the guidance gives a starting point, and in this case, the starting point is to be a higher-level community service order. The maximum sentence for theft is 7 years in prison. However, the sentencing guidelines tend to direct courts towards a much lesser sentence, usually because the harm caused as a Category 3 and the culpability is B, medium. Therefore, the outcome is more likely to have a non-custodial sentence. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, how do we reform this and make sure that those trade people have justice? If the courts had a better understanding of the impact of tool theft on individuals and small businesses, then the system would deal with this crime in a much more just way. In this bill, I propose the following reforms. Firstly, there is a provision in the guidelines for the harm category to be uprated to the next higher category if there is evidence of significant additional harm to the victim or other. The sentencing guidelines document give examples of what might constitute significant additional harm. Theft of tool trade should be added to the list of those examples to prompt magistrates to consider applying the higher harm category of 2 instead of the usual category of 3. Secondly, there is a lack of clarity in calculating the monetary values for the category boundaries. In one section, the guidance refers to financial loss when settling the boundaries. In another, it refers to value of stolen goods. In the case of tool theft from vehicles, there is often a big difference between the value of the stolen tools and the total financial loss, including repairs to the van, cost of loss of work, and business interruptions. These two latter issues are on average more than the financial loss or replacement of the tools. The wording should be standardised as financial losses, which means there will be more tool thefts will fall into Category 2. And finally, a crime with a medium culpability rate of B and a Category 2 for harm would bring a range of sentencing from 6 months to 2 years in prison, with a starting point of 1 year in prison rather than the 36 weeks community order at the moment. These reforms would make it more likely that tool theft will lead to a custodial sentence, strengthening the deterrent and leading to a potential reduction in this crime. Madam Deputy Speaker, I would like to thank Ray of Van Watch for their considerable and thorough research, which has contributed significantly to the shaping of this bill and their unwavering support. I would also like to thank Jambu, the CEO of Checker Trade, a home and improvement platform based in Portsmouth North, who are backing the bill on behalf of their 100,000 tradespeople and 500,000 small businesses on their platform. Madam Deputy Speaker, to conclude, I would like to welcome members of this House to share this campaign with trade groups and small businesses across the country, so that they too can join to back us and to back this bill. Because, Madam Deputy Speaker, tradies are the backbone of our country and our small business economy. They deserve to operate their businesses free from the constant threat of crime. Reforming these sentencing guidelines and tackling theft of tools of the trade is not just a matter of justice. It is about recognising the essential role that tradespeople play every day in our economy. By increasing the penalties for tool theft, we can send a clear message that these crimes will no longer be tolerated. We must afford tradespeople greater protection of the justice system. I ask the House today to back my bill and stand up for these workers who, in the trade sector, we rely on and who work hard every day to build, repair and serve our communities.
The question is that the honourable member have leave to bring in the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Who will prepare and bring in the bill?
Madam Deputy Speaker, Stella Creasy, Margaret Mullane, Sharon Hodgson, Jodie Gosling, Alison Gardner, Lawrence Turner, Sean Davies, Gurinder Singh Josan, Darren Paffey, Chris Bloor, Mark Ferguson and myself, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Amanda Martin.
Theft of Tools of Trade Sentencing Bill.
Second reading what day?
Friday the 25th of April.
Friday the 25th of April.